So I've been watching a lot of Pokemon slander videos, quote unquote, because I always wanted to see the perspective of the good and the bad side of Pokemon. And lately I've been kind of feeling a bit upset at Pokemon due to the fact that this franchise has been like whatever to me at this point. You know, as a kid playing these games growing up, it always felt like every time a new generation came out, it was an exciting adventure. And that feeling kind of got stuck in Gen 5, and as we soon figure out in Gen 6, 7, and 8, that sense of adventure just seems to lack. And part of the reason why, or I should say the biggest reason why, is that storytelling in Pokemon has been on a very, very bad decline. And so this is what the video's topic is going to be for today, as I dive into more of Pokemon art of storytelling has taken a significant toll on potentially the entire franchise now. Part of the biggest reasons why anyone would pick up a Pokemon game is one, the new Pokemon introduced in the generation, two, the new game mechanics. This generation we ended up getting Dynamax, which that was a problem in its own because it's so broken, and three, the characters and the storytelling behind those characters and creating a plot. As you probably have noticed in Gen 8, comparison to Gen 7, Gen 8's story is just wow. It was very unpolished, didn't make any much sense, and oftentimes it left a lot of plot holes. Like for example, with the Dynamax energy and the origins of Eternatus, like where did it all come from? Like what happened? Why was there a dark event happening in the game when there's no storytelling behind it? That story is left for several characters to interpret, and you're actually on a quest to determine what is Dynamax energy and where did the two dogs come from, why are they there, what is Eternatus. Like we don't really get too involved. And like I mentioned in my previous video, like in talking about Rose being one of the Chairman Rose being one of the not so great villains, is that there wasn't really much plot development for him. And I really didn't even think he was considered a villain. He was just an enemy of the moment at that time. And so I just want to talk more about, you know, storytelling and how to improve that in the Pokemon franchise. And I know it's probably going to be a somewhat long discussion, but I always have my own perspective, and I'm probably going to make a more lengthy video in regards to building and developing a better Pokemon game. Maybe there might be some collaboration. We'll see. But anyways, with storytelling, Pokemon integrations with story is kind of hard. I can understand that perspective because you want all 900 Pokemon to have its own unique story. That's what the Pokedex is for. And the issue with that is not all Pokemon are that great. Not all Pokemon are created equally. Not all Pokemon are going to be everyone's favorite. Obviously the pseudo legendaries, legendaries themselves have their own story because they're integral parts of the game. And that happens to be one of the biggest concerns nowadays, particularly with mythical and event Pokemon, where they just give it to you via QR code or by an internet code. As you recall, 4th Gen had mythical Pokemon that had their own story, kind of, and that's what really set the identity of those Pokemon, like Darkrai, Shaymin, Manaphy. Although Manaphy was more of an egg than anything, it's still, you had to get that Pokemon through another game which had its own story in Pokemon Ranger. Whereas Pokemon in Darkrai, hell, even Arceus, Shaymin, you had to unlock new areas to explore, and each one had its own tone. While Shaymin was very happy and, you know, led to a flower path, Darkrai was very menacing, and the fact that you encounter him set up, you know, a menacing tone that Pokemon isn't all that, you know, happy-go-lucky game that we all thought it was. And then Arceus, you know, a deity, an actual deity in the Pokemon universe, has its own, you know, location and its own story, and it's incredible. That feeling post Gen 5 has kind of disappeared. And another big issue with the Pokemon franchise and storytelling is the relatability of characters. Now, take a good look at Gen 7's characters, for example. where I actually said in one of my videos that Lucamine is one of the best, if not the best, villains in all of Pokemon due to the fact that she's relatable. The way she treats her children during the game, the way she reacts to you as the main character, her desires and goals were more so not very realistic, yet very inspirational to her own success because technically she did succeed one of her goals. And the fact that we get to see a villain do such thing was unprecedented at the time. How did we end up getting from that to Gen 8 where that seems to be disingenuous, where Chairman Rose, the legendary Pokemon, they're just there because they're just there. And maybe because Game Freak wanted to make Gen 8 more competitive, which makes sense because it teaches you a lot more about battling and getting your Pokemon IV, EV trained, having the perfect abilities, even coming down to the very own nature changing abilities too. With the mints, you have ability capsules, you have even bundles of vitamins you can get to your Pokemon for EV training, which is very good, you know. But me as a person who likes to play video games a lot, has come to the conclusion that Pokemon's uniqueness in storytelling is just not there. And as of lately, I've been playing other RPG slash storytelling games such as Horizon Zero Dawn with the Frozen Wilds DLC. Phenomenal, by the way. I'm enjoying it so far. And my first time playing it, on PC, and it's very good. I've played Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4. Phenomenal game as well. Everyone and their mom has played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Phenomenal storytelling. Pretty much like when it comes to storytelling in the Nintendo universe, I think Legend of Zelda in itself has one of the best storytelling archetypes of all time. That's not to say it's the best in other people's perspective, because it may not be true. But in my perspective, I think like Legend of Zelda, as much as the universe itself is sometimes confusing, it pretty much hits the nail on the head when it comes to, you know, fleshing out characters, fleshing out the open world, fleshing out the identities of characters that you meet along the way, NPCs. And with Pokemon, those NPCs, once you meet them, they kind of disappear. And I kind of wish that Game Freak gave you the ability to rebattle these characters or do side quests in Pokemon. I think Pokemon has the ability to go open world, such as its counterparts in Super Mario Odyssey or, you know, Breath of the Wild. And obviously because of those expectations, everyone in the fan base expected Pokemon Sword and Shield to be that game, but unfortunately that was not it. And now you come through a pretty much hallway game where you meet a few characters and then they just kind of fade away. You don't get to rebattle them, you don't get to do stuff with them, which is kind of disappointing because that identity of Pokemon always seems to be the hook grabber into getting people's attention, you know, making these people buy these games because that was their identity back in the day. Like Gen 5 was the epitome of that such ideal. In Gen 5 you meet N, who has pretty much one of the best character development in all of Pokemon. You have Ghetsis, who's a tyrant and a brute, and although you don't get to see him pretty much till the end of the game, he has a very identity as being aggressive, being pretty much brutal to the point where you would think that Pokemon Gen 5 could have been a potential adult-rated game. I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. I think it's time for Game Freak to realize that, you know, in Pokemon, battling does come first, but we need to build a very good, solid game. And one of its foundation has to include storytelling. I think it's time for Pokemon to pretty much transition into a more, maybe perhaps start off the game as a child, who is maybe outcasted. I know that the outcast story device has always been like pretty much overused, but I think for a game like in Pokemon where you're a kid with his first couple of Pokemon, you know, and then you start like the second half of the story as an adult. That'd be pretty cool. Actually, would be a pretty gnarly idea. And perhaps instead of having two regions, you can have a region where you as a character, you grow over time, and the changes of the regions develop as you age throughout the years, transitioning from a child to maybe a teenager or an adult. Because oftentimes, the Pokemon fan base doesn't transition much in the age group, but a lot of us have grown up playing Pokemon, and now we're like middle-aged adults that are still playing Pokemon, and we want to get the best out of our purchases in Pokemon games. And I think time transitions in games is always pretty good because it gives you a more broader perspective of the region and the world itself and the Pokemon as well. Perhaps maybe with that transition, or I would say quote unquote time traveling, because technically you are traveling from the perspective from one time era to another, perhaps there might be an adult timeline in Pokemon where you meet new Pokemon that didn't exist back then. You can have that solves your expanding Pokedex issues, that solves your character development with other NPCs that you grew up with, in the first part as a kid. So it's kind of like, Ocarina of Time, where it is still the same area, it's still the same region, but you get to see the evolution of your NPCs that you follow along with all this time, as well as your Pokemon. I think plot holes will always are always there just for us as the Pokemon fan base to interpret, because there's a lot about Pokemon we still don't know because it's not been confirmed. But because of the great value of successful Poketours that want to interpret their own stories, they do a pretty good job at patching up those plot holes, like the Ultra Beast or Eternatus or legendary Pokemon. Who came first, Mew or Arceus? That kind of stuff. And while that mystery has always been something that may be a vital key success of storytelling, I feel like the absence of it just hurts the overall Pokemon universe to the point that it's just not interesting. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about the length of a story. I truly believe Pokemon can be a 30, 40, 50-hour game. Not the 8-hour games that we're used to, not the 8 to 16 hours that we usually do if you're just running through the story. And I think the stories on average are 8 hours. This one, I actually, in Sword and Shield, took me about 7 hours, which was pretty damn short for a quote-unquote area that is expansive and immersive, including the wild area parts. But having that kind of length means more content. And that content, you could be side quests, perhaps you can get new items through those side quests, meeting new NPCs that you can battle on a regular basis, and just tightening the relationship with your character versus other characters, even the antagonists themselves. That will help Pokemon a lot. Pokemon as a franchise, their games are not supposed to make you stay there for a while. And I'm talking about it from the perspective of non-competitive. People that like to shiny hunt, people like to breed, and that's just one aspect. But to have an immersive story, kind of like what the games I mentioned in Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild, like those games are super immersive because the game mechanics and the development of NPCs themselves create that world, or their world building from their perspective, and their perspective is always interesting. Whereas in Pokemon games nowadays, once you meet an NPC, they just kind of simply fade away into the world. You don't get to interact with them ever again. They'll say a few lines, but they're not going to rebattle you. They're not going to give you items. They're not going to, tell you where to go next. And that always seems to be an unfortunate part of Pokemon. And I know this video probably is a little longer than I expected, but that's pretty much it right there. Like, Pokemon storytelling, I think, should definitely improve. Like I said in the beginning, battling, the aspects of competitiveness, and the Pokemon themselves are factors that, improvise a Pokemon game. But I think that storytelling itself is very vital and can determine whether or not a Pokemon game is successful for the many years it is stuck in a generation. Hopefully, if we do see a Gen 9, we get to see a more adult-themed kind of Pokemon, because like I said, the majority of the Pokemon fan base has grown up and they're playing other games, and they may be playing Pokemon games now, but now they are adults. They have seen pretty much everything from Pokemon, and now it's time for a much broader story with an immersive world. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, subscribe. I know YouTube be doing some weird stuff with subscriptions, but go ahead and subscribe or resubscribe if you have somehow, not subscribed. Appreciate all your guys' support, and yeah, it's your boy Franklin signing out. Peace.